The Morgan Report with David Morgan. Discover how to build and protect your wealth at themorganreport.com.
David Morgan of themorganreport.com for the week ending 25 April 2025. Well, here we are on the landing page. Don't forget to give us a first name and an email and join the free email list here. And I'm going to look at the blog for a moment. So I want to point out a few things that we did this week. Early in the week, I spoke with Mario Aneko, and he's in the UK. He posts almost every day. He just did an update with Ed Steer. I've known Ed for a very, very long time, and a lot of good stuff there. Also did an interview, kind of different one. This is ENG8. I was introduced to them by a Maverick friend of mine, and this is an energy solution that's it's not in production, but it's in the testing phase. Very interesting, something you might want to look into. Energy does make the world go round, not money, as I've said many times. And this is an alternative one that I think people interested in that field might want to look at. Quickly going through some of the Twitter posts this week. These last few here are just this morning. India continues to buy silver hand over fist. It's interesting. It's the younger crowd mostly, and they're doing it through exchange-traded products, which in the past was always physical, but there are some very significant ETPs in India. You can read the article here, talking about recycling, silver outlook. Some are saying 50 by the end of summer. I'm not convinced of that, but you can read the article. Gold prices soar. China has a gold ATM, and India is asking, when do we get ours? I think it's kind of funny, but it's very interesting that gold is that popular that they're putting out ATMs for gold. And this oldie but goodie, this is like 13 years old. This is a video I made, and it has to do with silver being the Achilles heel to the economic system. That was what prompted me to contact Mario again. We've done some podcasts together. This is, I think, the third or fourth one. But he talked about silver being the Achilles heel and gave him a call and interviewed him regarding that topic. This is the original, and it talks about Ben Bernanke with Representative Ron Paul showing him a silver round from the Silver Circle movie and asking him about silver and its relationship to the monetary system. Kind of interesting. So that kind of covers the Twitter feed. I want to spend the rest of the time on the U.S. dollar and talk about it. And I'm going to close out and make this one kind of short this week. So here is a chart of the U.S. dollar, as you can see. And from November up to about February, you can see we're above the 50-day and the 200-day moving averages. And recently we have fallen under them. The U.S. dollar has the dollar index. And we're significantly below it right now. And that trend, this big topping pattern, as you can see here, will continue. A trend in motion continues till it actually stops. We'll get another bounce up slightly here. Yeah, but the overall trend, until we get over these two moving averages, the trend is clearly down. Now, I was asked by one of our members earlier this week to talk about the 88 level on the U.S. dollar, which is this blue line, this horizontal line I have across here. And of course, we're way up here. So looking on the short term, what I just showed you, if you look at the long term, this is several years, as you can see, all the way up to the dollar being at 120. I started talking to Jim Paplava on Financial Sense News Hour in this area here, and the dollar went from the 120 down to 100 and below, as you can see. And of course, we had an 11-year bull market from basically that point all the way down to 2011. But basically, you had a dollar declining more or less for all of those years through 2009 financial crisis, and then a blip down, and we peaked out in 2011, which is here, and the dollar was back on the rise. But it stalled out at 88, and 88 was a ceiling for a while, as you can see. And finally, it went through the third time. You see, it takes three. So it was one attempt, two attempts, third attempt, it went through. And we've been pretty much in an uptrend for the dollar since that 2015-ish, 2014 level. Now, 88 is critical because once we get below that, we are in a situation where the dollar is really at its lower end, and it will be pretty much, I wouldn't say the end. It will never be the end of the dollar. I don't think it'll ever go away entirely, but its weakness will continue. So you can see we're not that far away, but we're not really that close either. We're coming down fairly rapidly. You can see that we bounced off this 88 here and bounced off about 90 here, but that's the critical level. And that's something to look for on the longer term. If you see it below that, I would expect gold would be probably over the 4,000, maybe even pushing toward 5. It's hard to say. It's not exactly inversely correlated because at the end of the great inflations, gold and the dollar can move together, gold continuing to go up, but in dollar terms, it exceeds it. So in other words, the liquidity squeeze from the extra pyramid, if you're familiar with that, and most of you that listen to me are, the struggle for liquidity goes to what's the most trusted, most safe position to be in for the financial system, which means cash or the ultimate cash, gold and silver. Anyway, I wanted to point that out, that we still have a ways to go, but you can see from this perspective that certainly the dollar has been under the 88 level, roughly from, I'd say, what is this, 2006 to about 2016. And that was kind of dire times for the strength of the dollar. We get there again, I think you're going to see much, much higher gold prices. So I'll leave it there for now. I'll be back with you next week with another weekly perspective.